I am happy. I am happy because at least this is a clear indication that democracy is taking roots in this country. If a man feels his work is being interfered with, he has the capacity to raise the alarm and say, the Constitution permits me to do this. People are interfering with my work. The dark days where there was a culture of silence and nobody could say anything is over. Our democracy is beginning to express itself appropriately. I will not be able to sit here and say my very good friend, my very dear friend, Mr. Domelevo is right, or that the board chairman is right. Mr. Domelevo has stated his case. I think that the presidency has done the right thing. There are always two sides to a matter. Let us listen to both sides and let a fair and an appropriate decision be taken. I would believe that the needful will be done. The Auditor General's office is very important in the cycle, in the financial cycle. You know, after people have been giving money to spend, it is important that we verify. Look, last year's budget was 65 billion Ghana cedis. We give it to ministries, departments, and agencies to spend, and the money, we don't pluck it from trees. It is our taxes, and it is loans and grants. It is necessary that that spending must be validated. Okay, over the last few years, over the last 10 years, we have all been hearing and reading of very scary things. Have you ever been a member of Public Accounts Committee? No. But we have been reading and hearing of very scary things about how our monies are used. Okay, I think that we must all encourage the Auditor General to do a lot more to build on what he had come to see. In the past, the Auditor General's report was laid by like 10 years and all. These days, I think it is quite current. I think they are doing 2016 now, which is not too bad. I hope that you will have a free hand to work.
Okay.
But as of now, I think that I will want to wait until the committee that has been set up by the president brings out a report.
Wonderful. But it gets very serious when reference is made to Section 92B of the Procurement Act, and it says that it's an offence for anyone to directly or indirectly influence in any manner or attempt to influence in any manner the procurement process to obtain an unfair advantage in the award of a procurement contract. So once the name has been mentioned, and he goes on to quote, that I'm trying to quote what he says in his petition, that my investigation revealed that the Audit Service Board Chairman instructed Mr. Johnson Nekuamwa Isiedu, a Deputy Auditor General, and Mr. Ebenezer Aglomasa, a procurement officer, to replace the approved firms with others of his choice.
I think I have stated clearly that I am happy that we don't have a culture of silence. I am happy that democracy is taking roots, and that expression like this in the past, these things will not happen. But at least now, the Auditor General is able to name names. You know, the trees have a saying, "Mitumra na machiresi." If I uproot the mushroom, I'll be able to tell you that I uprooted it from this mount. Okay, I am specific. He has put up a petition to the president. Let us call the deputy
chairman of
the deputy Auditor General. Let us call the procurement officer. Let us compare what he has with all the letters that have been written before. There must be some information at the Public Procurement Agency. Let us bring all the documentation and establish the veracity or otherwise of the matter. We cannot sit here. I am saying that there are always two sides to a matter. And until and unless a matter is fully interrogated, there will be no equity, there will be no fairness if we say that this one is wrong or that one is right. But at least there is a chance to interrogate the issues raised.
Okay, Honorable Rashid Pelpuo, on this issue, I just want to still focus on the Section 92B of the Procurement Act as mentioned, which seems to suggest even criminality in respect of same. A committee has been set up from the presidency. He'll be meeting shortly the president's secretary, the secretary to the president in respect of same. But in my opinion, once there's been mention of that particular provision, interference, according to his investigation per the petition, once there's been such a mention of criminality, of an offense, should it not be maybe something more independent? Should it be a committee set up by the president to look into this?
Well, first of all, let me congratulate the Auditor General for being this spirited, going ahead to request that his work is being interfered with and he wants a probe into it. And also, you know, this whole thing started when he was accused of breaching procurement laws. He was directly accused. And it sounded to me like the Electoral Commission thing, where the deputies were the one doing the bad things and then turned around to blame the Electoral Commission. And then when the investigation went on, they realized that they themselves, they were the ones who really were not doing the right thing.
Oh, respectfully, when it comes to the electoral commission thing, I mean, Madam Charlotte did not deny any of the procurement breaches against her. So let's not say that it was the deputies who were doing the wrong thing. And she
but let's say that they were all in it. Nobody was left out in the whole thing. But in this particular instance, the Auditor General exonerated himself. He said, look, I'm not part of it. He has named names, and he realized, I mean, we see that some specific individuals were the ones, you know, who were involved in it. Now, let's see what the consequence will be. And I do agree with you that it cannot be limited to just an investigation by the President's Secretary to find out who is interfering with his work. It's a very mild way of dealing with that thing. There is a breach of the law. The Auditor General cannot take instructions from anybody according to the law except the President of the Republic. He can't even take instructions from the Senior Minister. That's why when he was instructed by the Senior Minister to investigate something, he said he wouldn't do it. It has to be the President of the Republic by the law, the Constitution and the Acts that establishes it. So it's something that we should applaud. I want to see chief executives stand up strongly, know their job, and stand up strongly and do it and do the right way. How can a chairman, after due process has been followed, a job has been allocated to somebody or awarded to somebody, you instruct some people else to pick another company and say that's the company? Well, what kind of lawless behavior is that?
Well, Honorable, respectfully, the chairman also stated yesterday that Mr. Domelovo made a lot of decisions without including them as well. So what's the essence of having a chairman of the board? No, he didn't want to, but we've had examples of this where a CEO goes on and a head of an organization will do what they want, and then the board are also looking at him like, okay, are we supposed to be working together? Are we not? So what's the essence of having a chairman of a board if you don't consult them?
It is spelled out by the law. What the law says is what they should follow. And I'm very confident that they both would be referring to the law. And if the law gives the Auditor General the right to do something, he wouldn't need to go working with another person. But if the law specifically says, in this matter, you will have to work with the chairman, he would definitely have to do that. You know, of late, we've had situations where board chairmen have run counter with chief executives, and one of them would fall. In the case of Francis Esiem's place, is it a cylinder?
Yes.
Is a board that fell.
Yeah.
And in another instance, it was the CEO, I think the export something, the CEO rather fell, and things like that. We have to be very, very specific and go according to the law. The spirit and content of the law would be respected, so that we don't have two people who are supposed to work in concert, running counter with each other and contradicting each other, and eventually the job suffers, because we are paying them for what they do, and we want them to do the right thing. And I'm happy also, like my colleague has said, that people are beginning, people now find their voice to make reference to the law, and not fear behind them a big man or somebody is behind them who would instruct them to do something that is not in accord with the law and in accordance with the establishment. So it's in order what he has done, to write to ask for clarity, and after the clarity has been given, it would still be important to take it to the next level, whether there has been a breach in the procurement law. If there's a breach, then the required sanctions will have to be applied.
Wonderful.
Now, Honorable, let me ask you quickly. If the Auditor General is supposed to work without any interference, what's the essence of him having a board then?
Well, that's the whole point. I think that there is something about corporate governance that we must also take very seriously. You have asked the question, you have hit the nail right on the head. What is the essence of a board? What is the essence? I mean, in the past, 10 years ago, maybe more, Electoral Commission would complain that government was interfering with the procurement process. For the life of me, it is government that provides the money, and there's a procurement law. Indeed, the immediate past Electoral Commission fell on the dagger of a breach of procurement. You see, the fact that I am being very guarded in what I say, because like it has been pointed out here, the Auditor General is saying something, the board chairman is saying another thing. I still maintain that there must be a way, and there are two sides to a matter. Let us find out who is doing right and who is doing wrong. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter whose ox is God. Somebody must suffer some consequences. It doesn't really matter. But I will not sit here and say because this one has said this, he is right. Let us find out. But for me, the most important part of all of this discussion is that it should set out a clear pointer to all the other corporate organizations that there are limits. You can't do this. You can't do this. It must become reference to the next board chairman or the next CEO. All right. That's you need to do the.
I just want to read the functions of the board headed by the board chair.
Is this the
Section 4 of the Audit Service Act? Okay. So it says that the board shall determine the structure and technical expertise required for the efficient performance of the functions of the service. 2, it shall ensure that the auditing service or auditing activities of the audit service spelled out in this act are carried out in accordance with the best international practices. And 3, it shall appoint officers of the service and other employees of the service other than the Auditor General himself. And finally, it shall determine the terms and conditions of service of the officers and other employees. Now, in persons of subsection 1, the board shall hold consultation with the Public Service Commission, but the final decision on any matter is subject to the approval of the board, and the board may delegate to the Auditor General or any officer of the committee the appointment of such category of staff. So it appears that the functions, but it appears that the functions of the board seems to be relegated to a more administrative roles, supervision, and making sure that
the board doesn't even have administrative role. A board has policy. If you read the first one again.
Okay. So section 4.1 says the functions of the board shall determine the structure and technical expertise required for the efficient performance of the functions of the service.
Yeah, it very clearly states what it should do.
Yeah,
but it appears the work being done by the Auditor General being the procurement aspect, you know, that the Auditor General is looking at, it doesn't appear to fall clearly under the purview of the board.
Why do you want to get into a matter that is being investigated?
Well, as said now, it's not sub judice, so it's open to public discussion.
Yeah, but who says that whose version is right? You are making pronouncements as if. So I'm telling you, I know Mr. Demolo quite well. He's straight like an arrow. I'm a very good friend. Okay. But I will not even sit here and say that his version is right.
No, he's reading the law.
Yeah, but what does the law say? What it says that
technical, the technical, yes. So the board shall determine the technical and they shall determine the structure and technical expertise required for the efficient performance of the functions of the service.
Go on.
Okay, shall ensure the auditing activities of the service are carried out in accordance with international best practices.
Yes.
And appoint officers. So the rest relate to appointments.
No, you see, I think you are being unfair to the board in this. Let me.
It's not me. I'm just reading what the law says, Honorable.
I've been CEO before, or even let's take the recent case of a procurement of procurement of estate by GMPC. What the chief executive is saying is that he has board approval. Procurement. He has board approval to do it. No CEO will go out there to procure things without taking it to the board. But you don't. I will find it strange for it to be listed that if you want to do procurement, bring it to the board, as stated in the functions of the board. Any board that wants to do procurement must seek approval from because it's budget. Okay. So I think we should wait and see how it pans out.
Okay. Maybe we'll take final comments from you, Rashid, Pelpuo, on this, then we'll go for a quick break.
Yeah, I think that it's important that whatever the case is, any CEO would work in tandem with the board. It is critical, even if it is not stated in black and white, in matters which border on procurement and hardcore functioning of the institution. It's still important to do consultation. Where there's no specified, where there's nothing specific about it, especially in procurement, for transparency's sake, it's important to bring everything, clear. Because if it is going to procure something that will enhance the capacity of the organization, especially the audit board, in doing something that will bring about best international practice in auditing, and you will require certain materials, they will have to know that these materials are the ones you are bringing on board, so that you don't acquire substandard material.
Okay.
But now to that extent, it's just information and discussion with them for transparency. But otherwise, they shouldn't actually interfere, because it is purposely meant. The Auditor General is purposely meant to be insulated from external influence, so that he can do a good job, and so nobody is spared for dipping his or her hand into public affairs that eventually will let us all lose something.
Well, before we go on a break, I just want to read this quickly. According to Mr. Domelevo, when he confronted the board chair, the chairman admitted to the offense with the excuse that the law did not exist during his tenure of office as Auditor General. We know the board chair was also former, head of the Auditor General's department. So we'll just go on a quick break.
We are discussing the Auditor General's department impasse. The Auditor General has petitioned the President over interference by the board chairman and others. This is Breakfast Daily on CCTV. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on City TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was complex. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was a perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Stella Madonu on City TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Welcome back to Breakfast Daily, and we are still joined by Honorable Rashid Pelpuo and of course Honorable Emmanuel Agyarko, members of Parliament for Wales Central and Agyarko West Wogan respectively, and we just had a good discussion on the President setting up a committee to look into claims by Mr. Domelevo, the Auditor General of Ghana, that there's been some kind of interference by the board chair, and we looked at what the law said for you to also make your impression of the whole brouhaha. Now let's take a look at our next story from Men's Gold.
Yes, so I'm reading from Daily Graphic, page 16. Men's Gold SEC on coalition course. The management of gold investment company Men's Gold Ghana Limited is on a coalition course with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC, in a letter dated September 7th, 2018, and directed to the Chief Executive Officer of Men's Gold, ordered the company to shut down its gold trading operations with immediate effect and also halt advertisement of their investment business and desist from creating new contracts with depositors. However, yesterday, Men's Gold defied that order and instead issued a statement telling its customers, some of whom descended on the premises of the company as a result of the SEC directive, that they were going to still operate. But we found out this morning that they have indeed temporarily shut down to deal with it. They've suspended the operations. Yeah.
So we'll start with your Honorable Agyarko on Men's Gold.
Well, I really and truly don't. Again, I will go back that this is a country of law. We have a constitution. If the preamble to the constitution talks about we the people in the name of the Almighty God. Okay, take this constitution as a supreme law of the land. Apart from that, we have laws made by Parliament. Okay, so this is a country ruled by law. That is how come we have the Securities and Exchange Commission. That is how come, as a regulator of the financial markets, and that's how come we have the Bank of Ghana. Okay, so if your regulator says that stop something, it is equivalent to the policeman saying you are under arrest, and you say that I am not under arrest. For me, it is as simple as that. The regulator has said cease operation. The policeman has said stop what you are doing. I have arrested you. I don't think that there is a matter for argument. When you go there and you think that the policeman has no basis in law to arrest you, then you can go out there and determine this, and you determine that, and you determine this. I think that we should let the law work in this country. For me, it's as simple as that. The regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission has said you are breaking the law. Stop. Let him stop. Let his lawyers and his everybody go back to the Securities and Exchange Commission and say, no, we are not breaking the law. We are doing this. This is our license to do this. This is our permit to do this. This is how we do this. Otherwise, for me, it is a simple matter. In a country where there is no law, where there is no and nobody follows the law,
complete anarchy.
There is anarchy.
Honorable, let me read the statement by Men's Gold briefly. They said, following the notice from the Securities and Exchange Commission of Ghana issued on the 7th day of September 2018, the management of Men's Gold Ghana Limited, in its bid to bring some finality to the issues once and for all, has decided to place temporary halt on all extra value payment and any new business related to our gold vault market. The halt takes effect Thursday, which is today, September 13th, and will be in place for 6 days, by which time we believe all pending issues related to the gold vault market product would have been ironed out. Now, there are some customers of Men's Gold who also feel as though the CEOs being targeted and they are not just allowing them do what to do. So there are people out there who actually empathize with Men's Gold on this issue.
Well, I believe in the private sector. I believe in the fact that increased investment in the states by people who are bold enough and who are committed enough to bring money into business will increase our productivity and boost the economy. So it's important. But I don't believe in bad business people or bad business practices where people will circumvent the law, avoid taxes. Now, they have no license in the aspect where they trade in gold and gold collectibles. They have license in other areas. Are there, and now they are involved in gold collectibles, trading in it. Are they paying tax on that? If they are not paying tax on that, it's a very serious thing. And they should be very thankful that they are only directed to close that operation, because there are sanctions in the law. The act that establishes the SEC, Act
Securities Industries Act.
Yes, the Securities Exchange
Industries Act.
Yeah. The Act 929. Yeah. In it, Section 2061, there are consequences if you violate the laws. They are not applying the consequences. They are only saying stop. And that's a very mild approach to it. The best Men's Gold can do is to comply. And if they don't comply, I think that the regulator should go the extra length.
Yeah, I think initially the question was, there was an initial back and forth with Bank of Ghana. Yeah. Then they said we don't fall under the purview of Bank of Ghana. Then there was a back and forth with PMMC. We don't fall under PM. Then Securities and Exchange Commission were dragged into this whole thing. Yeah. Now, clearly, if you look at the operations of Men's Gold, these are trading investment that falls under the SEC, because securities are involved. The gold creates a form of security, or the certificate you're given when you buy the gold, and then they keep the gold for you and all that. It serves as a form of security. So if you look at the Act, the sections 2 and 3 of the Securities Industries Act, you know that clearly it falls under the SEC. Very clearly falls under the SEC. So the problem is that why has the SEC been so silent up until this point? They've been so. Men's Gold was established years ago. We saw the building. We knew the operations. We have seen the proactivity of Bank of Ghana in current times. We've seen the proactivity of some of the Auditor General in current times. Did it have to get to this point where it appeared that the new governor of the Bank of Ghana was pushing for the systems to look into the operations of Men's Gold before the SEC stands up and say that, you know what, you are under our purview, so therefore now we have to suspend you? I'll continue. Sometimes
the state officials who are responsible should also be sanctioned for neglecting their duty. It's important. I'll give you a clear example. I don't know whether I've ever said it here. The hospital at Cantonments, the police hospital at Cantonments, the reason why work has stalled there and nothing is going on, they were paid £45 million sterling to do the construction of the work as the total value involved in it. The contractor, after working for less than a year, has come back to say that he has finished the money. The reason being that after just finishing putting up the structures and the roof, the money was finished. When they asked why, he said it's because the inflation and depreciation affected his money. 45 million pounds. The Ghana government became alarmed, and then involved an auditor to come and audit the work. When they came, it was found that they spent only 5 million pounds in the job. Pricewaterhouse. And the man rushed to an arbitration, international arbitration. He's unwilling to come and continue the job, and he said the money is swept. Guess who were the people who signed and agreed that it was Ghanaian consultants themselves and technocrats agreed with him. And now I'm saying that the people who look on for Mainsgo to operate all this while and didn't appear to know that there was something going wrong until now should also be questioned. Because how can we ever have our people, committed to doing the right thing and getting institutions straight if we don't bring sanctions on people who violate the law and who aid others and abet them to violate the law?
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, Honorable Agyarko, following back on what Wilberforce asked, what's going on with our regulators? Because ideally, you would think someone would have checked this before Men's Gold even set up an office. These are the things you're supposed to do. Don't allow them operate, take money from depositors. We don't even know how much money we are talking about here, and taxpayers are going to have to deal with this if anything happens. So what's going on? Are regulators supposed to be policemen who catches us when we are on the crime, or are they supposed to at least ensure that they preempt it, or at least make sure it doesn't happen so that we are all protected and we don't have to clean up every time something happens within the financial sector?
I think that my understanding of the regulation is that there are two sides. Indeed, you must anything that you do, particularly if it is in the regulated area, you must go to the regulator, and the regulator must approve before you even begin. What happens many times, I cannot say with specific reference, but I'm just generalizing now. What happens many times is that the people will come to you and say, we want to do this, and you grant them the license or the permit to do something. Later on, you would find out that they go beyond what the license permits them to do. It happens, and it is not a peculiar situation here. Look, the best regulated market in this world is in the United States of America. Even there, you find some of the worst breaches. Okay. In the capital markets, or even with banking, has happened in the United States of America, where they have a very strong, extremely strong regulated environment. Okay. When people set out to do criminal things, or when you have criminally minded people, let me state that I am only speaking generally. Okay. When you have criminally minded people, okay, they will do anything. So in the regulatory space, there is the pre-licensing and the licensing, and then there's the post-licensing activities. Okay. So you must when you have done the pre-licensing and you have licensed, you must ensure that your post-licensing activities are also very strong. Okay. I have had opportunity to work in a regulatory agency before. And these are things that happen every time. It is mostly when you go back, when the man wants to import some medicine, he will bring you a very good sample that will pass all the tests. Once you license him and grant him the marketing authorization to do it, for some strange reason, I think that then they will go back to the producer and say, change some things and reduce the price for me so I can make a lot more profit. It is only in the post license that when you take samples, you will find out that this does not meet the standard. Okay? This is not something you can do every time. You probably will do it. Post-market surveillance, it's not something you do because it's not possible to do.
But if there's fear that you will do it every time, perhaps they won't do this. They won't say we can get away with it if they know that periodically you will show up to check what they're doing.
But criminally minded people don't really mind. I mean, take the case of this is what I'm talking about is producing substance. And people, you think that people who do narcotics, they know that
but that's too far. Even let's look at the reason I'm saying this is even in our markets we have things that are not standardized by GSA because people know that they can get away with it. But if there was a situation where we made examples out of other people that we catch you, we'll jail you, there will be that fear that if I'm caught, I'll pay the price for my actions.
I insist, maybe we should take a course in sociology, or you should get it one of these days after we leave. You should get a sociologist who has a background in this to explain. You think people don't know that they will be caught? You think people don't know? But the thrill of making money, the thrill of cheating, beating the system, this is why they are criminals. Okay, all we need to do is just to ensure that our regulatory space is properly supervised. We must ensure that our regulators the regulatory agencies are properly funded, they are properly resourced, okay, and it's just like police. If there's a world standard, I think there's a United Nations standard for per capita, one policeman to a certain number. All of these things have been properly calculated, okay. If you don't get to the optimum, it is difficult for the police to work. It's the same. I mean, Securities and Exchange Commission. We need to begin to find out how many people work there. There must be people who are on a daily basis working and checking and finding out and all of this. But if they are so understaffed, I don't know whether they are, but if they are so understaffed, they are looking at pre-licensing issues, they are looking at licensing issues. And post-licensing. By the time they would have to come back to look at the post-licensing issues, a lot of water has gone. I think it's a fantastic point. Just that so what we need to do as a developing country, as a developing economy, is that for me, I think that the people that study political science will tell you that one of the cardinal things of statehood or nationhood is ability of government to protect the people. Okay. Yeah. And so we must ensure that all our regulators, whether they are police, whether it's Food and Drugs Authority, whether it's Securities and Exchange Commission, whether it's Bank of Ghana. Okay. Look, Bank of Ghana complains. I think that they must be allowed to employ a lot more people because they supervise all these microfinance, savings and loans, banks. They must not wait for the year to do it once in a year. Okay. They must be there regularly. If they were doing their checks on a weekly basis, if something was going on, you will catch it before 1 year.
I think it's a fantastic point you made.
The harm would have been done.
Yeah. It's a fantastic point you make. But is that men's gold were all over the place, and I think SEC should have at least heard the adverts and seen the flamboyance of the whole.
But Honorable, your closing statement, we do have to close.
And also quickly on the final funeral rites that's happening today. Really briefly.
Yeah, so let me just go to the funeral straight away. We are celebrating and mourning at the same time the life of a great man, a man who lived and died working for the world and for his country. And for us in Ghana, it's celebration because here is a person who walked the lands and waters of this country. Fed from this country, educated here, went into the international scene, and became the world #1 civil servant. That's an inspiration enough. That's celebration that we can produce the best for the world. And I'm very happy that you know, he became what he was. But again, Kofi Annan has brought a lot into the fray in world diplomacy. In my master's program, I did a research on a comparative study of international
really briefly
in foreign policy. And then I realized that the character of the person has a lot of influence on the relation between countries when they relate. And so Kofi Annan, his humble disposition, has brought into the international scene the peaceful nature. That's, I mean, the peace that we can reach when people carry sober minds into negotiation. So we are celebrating and mourning him as well.
Thank you very much.
Well, mourning because he died, yes, but I think it is more of a celebration. For me, what all of this means is that you can be born in a, well, his father was not a very, his father was a UAC manager. Okay. But you can be born in a country like Ghana, pre-independent country like Ghana, go to government boys' school, and go to Fanspen, and rise to the pinnacle, become the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Fantastic.
The man was not born. He grew up in Kumasi. He had friends. He played football. He played gota. You know,
I think that's a great way to wrap it up.
He did the things that we all do. Yeah. But by virtue of determination and wanting to be, he rose to be the top civil servant of this world. Wonderful. I think it must be an inspiration for all of us. Now the young boys who go to Kotobabi JHS and my famous school, I went to the world famous KO Methodist Primary in Kumasi. Okay. It must be an inspiration to the boy who lives in the village. That if I work hard and I aspire, I will end by just in the Methodist hymn book. Now praise we great and famous man, the Father's name in story, and praise the Lord who now as then reveals in man his glory. The last stanza, one of the stanzas say, praise we the wise and brave and strong, who graced their generations, who helped the right and fought the wrong, and made our folk a nation.
Thank you. This is a beautiful way to end the show today.
Anyway, thank you very much, honorable members of parliament, for joining us. Honorable Rashid, Pelpuo, and of course, honorable Emmanuel Agyarko, ending us with a beautiful hymn epitomizing the life of the legend Kofi Annan. This has been Breakfast Daily. We are going to take a look at an interview between Bernard Avle and
Kwame Pieni. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll come back and cross over to Vivian and Nathan. So Vivian Kailoko and Nathan Kwao will be with you for the rest of the program for a live feed of the funeral. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We wish you a very lovely day, and let's take a look at the interview with Bernard and Kwame Pieni. We'll see you tomorrow.